What are you going to accumulate evidence on? Okay, taking a clinical history. So what do I think it's important for somebody really to do an in-depth interview or assessment of whether or not a person has had previous concussions? Yeah. Okay. Is there any evidence to support that assertion? No. Is it good clinical practice? Yes. Okay. If you're going to do an assessment, is it important to hit all 4 of the TBI benchmarks more than it is to, assess other things? So if you really have a limited amount of time, okay, then you can go in there and do a focused assessment. Yeah, you could do that. Is there any evidence to that? No. Okay. So, I think there are a lot of ways in which you can do this. I think we know, for example, that practice and repetition are needed. We know, for example, that exercise is a beneficial intervention. Getting people up and getting them running around tracks, getting them on treadmills, getting them on elliptical machines is a very viable intervention that isn't terribly expensive. Doing some work in Texas with kids who are incarcerated, and was at lunch with them a couple weeks ago, and I was saying, one of the things you could do with some of these kids when they have an emotional outburst is put them in a quiet room. Just take them out of the environment, put them now. That's pretty simple. Okay, it doesn't cost any money, except you need a quiet room. So. I got a call from these folks. I had a call with these folks on Wednesday that since they took what I was saying seriously, created a quiet room, and since they've done that, there's been a 50% reduction in calls to security. Okay, now that's a no-cost intervention, no evidence that it works. Okay, but it worked. Okay, I think a lot of the things that I'm talking about, there is no evidence on. There is no evidence that you need to have 2 sets of books, okay? There's no evidence that mom knowing what homework a child needs to do is going to increase or decrease the frequency of the dog eating the homework, okay? But we know these kinds of simple things are very effective.